Welcome to the Good Intention Show, coming to you live on the UI Radio Network. The Good Intention Show is sponsored by the United Intentions Foundation at unitedintentions.org, a virtual community where you learn to create, track, and manifest your passions one intention at a time. Look for us on Blog Talk, Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, and many more. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram under United Intentions and on Twitter at Higher Intention. Yes, this is the Good Intention Show, where you will meet people who live life intentionally and hear about things they're not telling you in the mainstream media. And now, here's the truth seeker, the snake charmer, a legend in his own mind, broadcasting live all over the universe, your host, Mr. Tim Ray.
All right, back in action. There's something about the start of the week that so much hope and so much possibilities are there. Don't you feel that way, Wahid?
Yeah, it's a new day to start. Get a fresh start. Right?
Fresh start.
New week.
Exactly. Anything's possible. And then till Wednesday comes around, you've been beaten down, and you're like, oh man, I can't wait till this weekend comes around. When do you get beaten down, by Wednesday or Thursday, Wahid? How many days it takes you?
Depends on the week, but it's all in the mindset, man.
Come on, nice. See, that was a trick. That was a trick question, man.
No, you know what? I rested all weekend.
Ah.
Yeah, so I feel like I can probably take on the world again.
Look at that. Well, listen, I feel the same way, too. I had a good rest, working on a bunch of different things at the same time. But overall, I feel great. And you don't have to get beaten down during the week. We let ourselves get beaten down. And today is going to be a great show. We have Mark Stephen Pooler, and he's going to be calling all the way in from England. Come on. What about that? From England, we'll be talking about entrepreneurship and the right mindset. Not to mention the guy had a near-death experience. They always get on my radar quick, don't they?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I know. Danny, eat your heart out. Although, I don't know. Danny's, I think, is up to 4 near-deaths already. Maybe climbing. But this is, the devil doesn't want him, he has nowhere to go. So we're going to hear all about what Mark Stephen has to say, and you guys are going to want to hang in there. It's going to be an interesting call. So what else we got going on? WDJY listeners out there, 99.1. Got a lot going on, actually. We'll even share with WMTA in Kentucky, 107.3. And, of course, on here locally on WDJY, but also UI Media. Check out our UIMediaapp.com. You can watch us anywhere around the world, locally or not. And I think one other place, too, talk10fm.com. Go check it out. A lot to share, a lot to go over. And you guys want to look at our app, you could listen to us or watch us. That's what's the cool part about it. You can listen to us or watch us. Not many people give you that opportunity. We're also on Binge TV, too. Now, I don't know if you all knew that. We're on Binge TV, and it's our new, our call sign is going to be UI TV, which is pretty cool. We have our logos all going up in the next week and a half, so you'll be able to watch us at your home on television. If you have, what is that called, Roku?
Yeah, Roku.
Something like that. Rocco. And a whole bunch of other smart apps, smart TV systems you have, which I can't keep up with because technology is just out of hand. It's out of control. I mean, every other day it's Snapchat here, Instagram that, Facebook this, or it's just so much going on. I don't know how we all keep up with this technology, but it serves a purpose. It helps us reach one to many and getting the good word out. And the good word is what? The power of our intentions. That's what we do here at the United Intentions Foundation. I don't share this enough. Is all about waking up to the power of our intentions and understanding that our thoughts and our feelings actually have physical properties. They can be measured. High frequency, low frequency thoughts, what they affect, the biochemical reactions in our body and also outside of our body. How thoughts do travel outside of our body. We may not know how yet, but we know they do. We have circumstantial evidence supports that with people like Dr. Bruce Lipton. So our foundation's all about understanding the thought process and what it is to manifest your reality every nanosecond. Imagine if you were a child and you learned this process, that you could create your reality anytime you truly put your thoughts and energy into consciousness and be aware of that. And you could watch the reality unfold. Imagine learning that in first grade. We had to learn it like halfway through our life. Wow, So whatever formulas there are, and we may not have the full formula, but we know this is part of a reality that we're experiencing. And I also do believe that our higher self has a play and role in the manifestation process and the law of attraction. And our higher self is a connection to God, a connection to source. And, our source, our higher self, the more of ourselves may be wanting to manifest something else in our lives. It may contradict our little temporal selves, what we want to create. But you know, you have to take that into account if that's to be true, which I believe it is. So you know, that's why I think if you're connected to spirit, connected to source, connected to unconditional love, you'll probably be in line with what they're manifesting or what you are manifesting, and then what the little you are manifesting. Right? I think it's probably the safest bet. So even that's more of a reason why you should be connected to God. Boom, done. Drop the mic. That's all you need to know in life. All right. So what do we have coming up here? We have shows today. What do we have shows we have today? We have Beth Peters, Beth Peters, Psychic Soup. And also, I didn't tell Shannon this. She probably won't hear the show here. But Beth Peters is going to be our special co-host guest this week, or at least for Tuesday. And it's going to be all about animals, dogs and cats, and our relationship with animals. And we have an incredible awakened star who's calling in from, she's getting really early, calling in from, I think, Colorado, who is a animal expert, but more so on the spiritual edge of animal expert, which is really going to be a cool show for Tuesday. So make sure you wake up with us to Awaken Atlanta at 6 a.m. for a Soulful 30. Then we go live at 6:30 to 9. And it's going to be a great show. You're going to want to miss that. So again, to watch that anywhere around the world, you don't have to be from Atlanta to experience Awaken Atlanta. Go to our uimediaapp.com, uimediaapp.com, and you don't even go download. You just add it to your URL and you save it to your home screen and you're done. You know, it's the coolest thing. All right, let's talk about our special guest today, Wahid, Mark Steven Pooler. He's a professional speaker, also individual and group coach, and he just started a new radio show over at the in England, which is pretty cool. But I'm sure we'll find out where it broadcasts on the Business Innovator Network, and so much to share. And again, of course, he had a near-death experience, which we'll talk about. But without further ado, let's bring him in. Mark Steven, how are you?
Hi, Tim. Great to be here, and I'm looking forward to being the guest on your show today.
Okay, only thing comes to my mind is I just want you to sing a Beatles song. Is that it comes to your mind when you think you're talking to Paul McCartney? Everybody always thinks you're talking to. I love the British accent. To me, it's just I don't know. I feel like I need to listen more.
I like it too.
Isn't it great? So, Mark, welcome to the show. We're very excited as well to have you here. And the fact that you get into radio, and we'll talk about your NDE here shortly. But why radio? I mean, you have a successful business entrepreneur mindset coaching, but why radio? Why do you want to get into radio? Well, looks like we froze him up there a little bit. Yep, I think he is. I think he's frozen. He's frozen in England. So check the connection, guys, and we'll get him back in. But anyway, oh, there he is. He's back.
Hi, I'm back again now.
Right.
Can you hear me?
Yes. You got to get those free. We got to get those free because he's traveling over the Atlantic Ocean there. You know, you have to come. Sometimes there's a little delay. So go ahead. My question to you, I don't know if you heard it or not, Mark, was why radio? Why'd you get into radio? Why do you want to get into radio?
I have been doing a Facebook live show where I've been interviewing lots of entrepreneurs over the last year, and I was offered a great opportunity to do radio hosting for the Business Innovators Network and be a contributor to various magazines, including Business Innovators Network. So it really is in resonance with what I'm already doing.
Right. Well, that's wonderful. You know, and we do because we think speaking from one to many is really a great avenue to try to get the good word out. But your passion seems to fall in the entrepreneurial environment. And there's a lot of entrepreneurial mindset coaches out there now that are just, storming the grounds here, and not only in the States, but I'm sure around the world. So why you? Why do you want to be one of this group, and how are you different?
I am really passionate about what I do, Tim, and 2 years ago, I made a big decision to become a professional speaker and follow my passion into becoming an author. And it was really hard. The journey is really hard in the beginning, knowing how to make progress and how to move forwards. So that was what led me to help and inspire other speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs, and influencers to move forwards within public speaking, because I've walked that path, I know all the steps to take, how to make progress. And that was what led me into becoming a public speaking coach and an influencer.
Well, it's so true because when you have to do the hard knocks in any endeavor you get into, and yours, of course, doing public speaking and learning the hard way, and people they get so discouraged, like, oh man, this is terrible, it's never going to work out. But just look at it from your perspective. See yourself in a year, 2 years, 5 years from now, gathering all that information like you did and using that to help other people now to avoid those pitfalls, right? To avoid those blocks where you may just get to the point where you want to throw the towel in, right? So it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing now. You're sharing your hardships so other people don't have to have those hardships, right?
It's always, for me, has to come from a place of helping others. It's my passion to know that I'm helping and inspiring others with my story, my journey, and helping people through their journeys too. So it's always about helping others.
Right. Well, listen, people say that, and a lot of entrepreneurs, entrepreneurial is entrepreneurial. You're creating opportunity. A lot of it's self purposeful driven too. It's like I want to create this because I want to have certain things in my life, right? So, and you're saying is that your take is that you love doing this because you love to give, but you're also getting something too. So, what do you get out of being an entrepreneur and in the giving process?
I am getting to follow my passion of being a speaker. I've managed to publish a book, so I'm now an author. I've
What's the name of the book? What's the name of the book?
The name of the book is called Tips to Create the Life You Desire. It's my personal story of tragedy turned into brilliance, and the second half of the book is personal development.
Okay.
How to move forwards in business and in life.
Yeah, because I mean, if you could move forward in life, or move forward in business, it definitely will help you move forward in life to whatever degree. I hear you on that. So that's wonderful stuff. I think with being passionate is critical. Most people don't have an opportunity to live a passionate life. They have to clock in, they go to work, whatever it may be. They're usually not very happy. Now, it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, do you believe people can be happy not being an entrepreneur, just working a 9-to-5 job, whatever that may be, and be just enjoy at their work?
I definitely think people can be happy in a normal job. I think if they aren't happy, it doesn't have to be that way. But if someone is happy with their life the way it is, why change it if you are happy? But if you have got the bug to be an entrepreneur and live an entrepreneurial lifestyle, go for your biggest dreams. There's nothing stopping you from creating the reality that you would like to create.
Mm. Well, yeah, trust me, I hear you, and I think a lot of people believe that to be true too, but it's sure not happening all the time. A lot of people have these blocks, of why I want a certain thing, and it's just not appearing in my life. And what do you equate that to? Why do you think that's occurring in people's lives?
I think sometimes you can want things too badly.
Mm.
So it's all about allowing things in. But you really do have to work on your belief systems. I myself have had really negative thinking and very low self esteem, low self confidence. And I obviously wasn't following my true passions and purpose. It takes personal development, working on your mindset, working on your belief systems, making better choices. And when you work on your belief systems, that leads to better choices. And with the better choices, that will lead to a better reality.
Right. Well, listen, I think better choices does definitely lead to better reality. And once you change your mindset, then all of a sudden what changes is your decisions and your choices, right? Which then then puts you in a different circumstance, and the different circumstances where you have different experiences, right? So they kind of go hand in hand. But do you think there's something more magical going on? Something more magical going on in reference to uh, behind the scenes of this manifestation process, or do you think it's just a matter of get a right thought and then you'll make the right decisions?
I definitely think there's a lot more to the universe and around us than we can possibly see. So many people go about their normal life with their eyes closed. Have a look around at the world. The air that we breathe comes
Mm.
from the trees, oxygen that it gives out. The water that we drink is supplied from the earth. We are connected to everything, and there's definitely more. And the iron in our blood comes from inside a star. Really have a look up at the sky. There's a lot more to the universe, and I think there's definitely a lot more to life than just everyday normal life and that's it, you die. I really don't believe that.
Yeah.
I believe in infinity, that
Yeah.
everything, we're a spiritual being
Yeah.
having a human experience.
Well, yeah, absolutely, and I wish a lot of people would kind of get on that point there. When we get back from break, Mark, let's talk about the infinite and how that can help entrepreneurs and help with the mindset, because it's not just about having a skill set as an entrepreneur. It's about understanding, I think, in my opinion, how the universe works, how thoughts create our reality. Because once as an entrepreneur, you can understand how our thoughts create our reality. Now you got some substance, you can start building what you want, right? So let's get into that. Let's get into the magic of being an entrepreneur. The magic of entrepreneurship. We should have titled it that, right? There you go.
It's another T-shirt.
Another T-shirt, right? We're talking to Mark Steven Puller. You can reach him at info@markstevenpuller.com. He's a professional speaker as well as a new radio host, which we're going to talk about when we get back. So stay tuned. See you in a minute.
Hi, my name is Beth Peters, Atlanta-based psychic, medium, animal communicator, and your host for the Psychic Soup. Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on WDJY 99.1 FM. I bring in fascinating guests and touch on everyday topics, but with a psychic's twist. From high-profile psychics to psychic fanatics, I like to talk to people and learn how us psychics can help them in ways they've never dreamed of. Have any questions you'd like me to answer? Call 678-495-4345, and I'll be happy to take your call. You can also watch me on Facebook Live at United Intentions Foundation, where you can post your questions in the comment section. Find the Psychic Soup on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and many more platforms. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at United Intentions, and on Twitter at Higher Intention. So relax, take a deep breath, and dive into the Psychic Soup. A spoonful of psychics for soulful readings come true.
All right, we are back. And better than ever, we're here with Mark Steven Puller, calling all the way from England. Birmingham, England.
Happy to be here.
You know, most of all our towns here, like New Jersey, came from Jersey in England, you know, New York, right?
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, I know. Like Birmingham, Georgia, came from Birmingham, where he was born, right, where he lives. It's like, is there anything we don't copy from England, right? So we are all one, aren't we? If not just England and America.
Yes, you copied our language, but it's not English anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were talking about Dan DiTalio. He's cool. He's a lot of good messages he's saying on there too as well. But we were talking about on Facebook, that is. We were talking about the magic of entrepreneurship, and a lot of people, I think, who understand law of attraction, law of vibration, understanding how our thoughts create our reality every now and a second, of course, co-creating with source, I believe, that there is something magical about it. And when you say the word magic, almost the word spontaneous or instantaneous, it has to be part of the word magic. Otherwise, you know, wouldn't have that magical experience, right? Like poof, there it is, right? So if instantaneous and and spontaneous things happening automatically, without, I guess, much thought or energy or work to put into it, is a definition of magic. Just for our argument's sake, for an entrepreneur, how can they? How can they? Where can they go learn about this so they can incorporate that more in their day-to-day life? Because boy, as an entrepreneur, you're creating something from nothing, and you really want to create something. Wouldn't you like to have a magic touch to it, right?
Definitely. I first started looking at the mind and quantum physics, which I absolutely love. People like Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, I really look up to. Also, Esther Hicks is someone that I've watched over the years, all about law of attraction. And some people do think the law of attraction is a bit woo-hoo. I don't believe that, because if you focus on the good and really look at all the good in your life, and think of everything what you're grateful for, more and more things do come in your life to be grateful of. It's like if you focus on the bad, everything seems worse than
Mm.
what it is. But I think the key here, Tim, is it's not something you just do once. It's all about having rituals and routines. I work on my mindset every day. I journal, I meditate, I visualize, and I watch what I eat. I get exercise. I'm constantly looking at clips on YouTube, learning more and more. It's really important to work on your mindset every single day. And you did say about it happening instantly. And for me, I feel it doesn't always happen instantly. It's something you do have to put action to and work really hard at to get the results. But it does happen.
Right. Well, I agree, and I don't know the formula to the point where I could manifest things instantly. Um, but I will say that there is something when we're in the flow of the universe or in the flow of source, and we're allowing, like you mentioned earlier, Mark, that we're allowing something to occur rather than forcing it. Like a lot of entrepreneurs, their first mistake is they want to control everything and they don't want to give over to the universe um, this control because I'm creating it. I own this, right? And that's usually one of the first shortcomings is that they realize, wow, when you try to force it, I think God's like, okay, you take it on, right? Rather than we'll hand it back to God. I say this all the time. We'll hand it to God, right? For whatever reason, then was like, okay, we're not patient enough. Okay, then we take it back from God, right? And then we're like, I'm back to where I was before. So it seems like you're right. Not everything is instant, but however, there is a certain magic with the flow. If you go along with it, that things will seems to appear in your life a little bit sooner than perhaps how it seems for many. It's always an arm distance away.
I think little steps every day, work on your future, your dreams, your goals, and just take small action steps every single day consistently. And over time, you are going to reach your end destination. You will start to attract those things that you've been focusing on. It's about not seeing a big mountain in front of you. It's about taking little steps every single day towards the goals, the dreams, the aims, the future you want to attract.
Mm. No, I love that. I think that's smart. And some of the things that you said you do practice. You practice meditation, right? And what's your
10
what's your
minutes.
routine usually for that, and when?
I do a minimum of 10 minutes every morning before as soon as I've woken up. Meditation is really important. It's medically proven to improve brain function. And I know when I've meditated, my thinking throughout the day is so much better. It's really important for brain function, the way you're thinking through the day. I journal on the morning. I list everything I'm grateful for, the things I want to achieve in the day, and then I journal on a night what I've achieved and everything great what's happened through the day. And then before I go to sleep, I just visualize where I want to go and the future I want to attract.
Wow. Wow. You know, if everybody did that, I wonder where this world would be. I mean, it seems so systematic, doesn't it? It seems so, simple. You know, just when I wake up in the morning, give myself 5, 10 minutes. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to clear the chatter in my brain. I'm going to then focus on my intentions for the day. What do I want to get accomplished? And then then you get out of that state of mindset, and then you start with your day, with your decisions and actions and behaviors. And then you go throughout your day. At the end of the day, you sit down. And you put yourself into that state of mindset again, into theta, probably brain activity, and you're processing what happened for the day. I wish, I wish we all could do that. Like me, I'm rolling in at nighttime. God knows where I've been, and last thing I'm thinking about is intentional work at night. Which I do at times, of course, and I'm being facetious reference to playing devil's advocate here, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people just go throughout their day just bouncing from one thing to the next and never really having a plan. I'm not even talking about using a planner. I'm talking about having a plan in your mind, right, of processing what you experienced. Like most of us never give 2 seconds of thought of what they experienced.
It's so easy to forget what you've achieved in just one day. It's really important to track your successes throughout the day, track everything you're grateful for, because you're processing that in the mind and it's going straight into the subconscious. It's really important to show gratitude for everything that is great in your life. Everyone has got something to be grateful for. The food you eat, the water that you drink, the air that you're breathing, your family, your pets. Start focusing on all of those good things and keep on growing on everything that you can be grateful for.
Geez, Mark, I just want to put you in my pocket and take you wherever I go. I tell you what, it's just I love it. It really, it's a practice. It's a repetitious practice that if you do, we get into the mindset where in the morning we focus on what intentions we want. At night, we focus our accomplishments and intentions that we achieved. We focus on the gratitude. We focus on the positive side of it, because where our attention goes, our focus goes, right? Where our, and what we create. And it just seems so simple. Why do you think most people, outside of you and a handful of others, most people don't do this every day? And who know it? People who kind of hear this over and over again, but they still don't do it.
I think they may not be putting it as a priority. I know if I have a couple of days off, I feel really unorganized and I start focusing on negatives. For me, it has to be ritual every single day. It's 10 minutes on a morning to have better thoughts, make better choices. It's really important to make it part of your routine. And after a couple of months, once you've started doing these rituals and routines, it will become a habit. You don't have to think about brushing your teeth. If you do this consistently over time, just like brushing your teeth, it will become an habit.
Yes. Yeah, they say latest science now is 66 to 90 days it takes to develop a new neural pathway where it is a habit at that point. So I agree. Everything you're saying, it's amazing if we would just take that 20 minutes of our day. I mean, God, who doesn't have 20 minutes? I mean, think, Wahid, how much time we've blown in 20 minutes just in one of these meetings, Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, where this quality 20 minutes can transform everything throughout your daily experience, could bring in new opportunities that you never even would have thought of because you didn't have the intention to have it. So, guys, it's amazing. We're talking to Mark Stephen Pooler. He's not only a professional speaker, but also a radio host, which we'll talk about when we get back from this break. And we're talking about the magic of entrepreneurship, how to get into the routine to create the magic, so where it can become more instant over time. And and I really do believe, we got to bring the divine in. We'll talk about the divine here shortly as well when we get back from break. Again, check Mark out at info@Mark Stephen Puller. That's a Stephen with a PH in it, stephenpuller.com. And more to come. We'll be right back.
I feel alive, happy inside. I choose happiness. I choose happiness. I am so grateful. Life is so wonderful. I choose happiness. I choose happiness. I choose happiness. Settle for nothing less. To me, life is the best. I choose happiness.
It's time to wake up, Atlanta. Wake up your inner self to the power of your intentions. Wake up to co-create the life you desire. Wake up to a conscious way of looking at the world with the awesome trio. The uncensored Shannon McVeigh, the defender of common sense, Michael Litton, and the conscious voice of the South, Tim Ray. Tune into Awaken Atlanta on the UI Media Network, sponsored by the United Intentions Foundation, and discover a whole new way of looking at the world as we bring to you everything from wellness to entertainment, motivation to current events, games, contests, prizes, and much more. Listen to us on Spreaker and watch us live on Facebook at United Intentions every Tuesday and Thursday from 6 to 9 a.m. Eastern. You can follow us on Instagram at United Intentions and on Twitter at Higher Intentions. We hope to see you there.
Nothing can shut me down.
Those are funny comments. I wish it was that easy, sitting around smoking marijuana, right? So anyway, we are talking to Mark Stephen Puller. He's a professional speaker, and we're talking about the magic of entrepreneurship and getting in touch with our divinity as well. And we left off on a little bit about how the magic of being an entrepreneur, and how it takes a routine and creating a habit, right? And you need to get a habit going. And really, it's very important. But what about the divine, the infinite? How does that incorporate into your formula of entrepreneurship and having the right mindset?
I feel like if you come from a mindset of abundance, a lot of people compare themselves to others and jealousy, and these are all things that hold you back from succeeding. You should never look at others with envy or jealousy. You should look to others for inspiration and celebrate others' success. If you look around at the world, everything is in abundance. You should not have a lack mindset. So rather than looking at people thinking they're doing better, look at others for inspiration and know that there's enough success for everybody. So abundance, everything is infinite.
Right. Well, listen, it is a mindset to know everything is abundant and everything is infinite. And the problem it really comes down to is our first 7 years of our life. Mark, as you know, we've been programmed. That's when we're in theta. That's when we're in hypnosis. That's when we're getting our original sin, our original programming of how that's going to affect everything for the rest of our lives in our first 7 years. And everything from then on is going to be screened by what we were programmed with in the first 7 years. So if we're told that we're dumb and we're not going to be successful and all this, then we're going to take that into our adulthood. And so when somebody says, hey, the universe is abundant, then the old programming says, well, he's just saying that because I don't have abundance. There's no way, because I'm not smart enough to get abundance, or whatever the old programming is. I mean, how do you recommend people to really, challenge that core belief programming that happened when we were kids?
Programming is very real, and it's something that really has affected me, Tim. I had a really hard childhood, bullying all through my school years, quite a bad childhood. And repetition. It's something you really have to work hard at. Negative thoughts and programming, I know, has been a real obstacle for me. And that's why I've had to work so hard on my mindset, my thoughts, my beliefs. And it's something I have to consistently work on. And that is due to programming from my younger years.
Wow, and it is a challenge for most of us because I have to say, most of us have negative programming. This is why we have 70, 100,000 thoughts a day, which most of them are negative or repetitively negative. And so, it is the challenge, and as an entrepreneur, not only you have to think of this three-dimensional world and what it has to offer and what you want to create in it, but you also got to take into account your negative programming of how you can be successful because most of us learned to self-sabotage. That's what we do. We're not even conscious of it. We're not even conscious of our self-sabotaging behavior. So when we get to the point like I don't have this, but I do everything I do my everything I'm supposed to do, every steps all the way, but I still don't have this. And when we have a chance to look at some core beliefs, if we ever get the chance to look at our core beliefs, we're going to find is that we don't feel we're good enough and we self-sabotage our successes. It seems like you said through repetition, I guess you're in the process of overcoming that, or do you feel like you got past that negative programming as a kid, or where are you right now and how have you dealt with that?
I didn't really properly start working on my mindset until the age of 30. Um, I was heavily bullied all through my childhood. By the age of 21, low self esteem, low self confidence, I became addicted to crack cocaine and heroin.
Wow.
I went out I went out on a party night out with friends taking drugs. There's not many drugs I have not tried, and I collapsed and I died from drug use. My heart flatlined. I woke up in hospital. My mum got a call saying, if you want to see your son alive again, you need to get to the hospital straight away. Um, Bruises all up my arms where adrenaline had been pumped into me, and shock pads had been used on my chest to bring me back to life. I have suffered with bad mindset, and I really didn't. At the age of 21, I did slowly start to rebuild my life. I did read my first law of attraction book around that time, well before The Secret came out. And it was a slow process. But by the age of 30, that was when I set up in business for myself. I joined a network marketing.
I think we froze him a little bit, but he'll come back. He's still there. But fascinating. I didn't know about that was the heroin use because now it explains why he had the near NDE, the near death experience.
Right.
So when he gets back, we'll talk more about this near death experience because I think that is really a transformational moment in people's lives when they can hold on to that. So we lost you there for a second, but you're back. So Mark, you had this incredible journey. You had this near death experience. How long were you dead for, by the way?
I couldn't tell you how long I was dead for because I just remember waking up in
Okay.
hospital.
Do you remember
I,
do you remember anything about your near death experience when you were in anywhere else?
I just remember 1 minute I was in a club having the time of my life dancing. The next minute I woke up in hospital. That is all I
Remember,
remember.
sure. Do you think anything divine for that experience for you it interjected in your life at that point, or how do you process this near death experience? Because since you don't remember it, like people like Daniel Brinkley, he wrote it all down. He had this new psychic skill set. And have you seen any change in you in your perhaps your five senses since you came back from death?
I'm very intuitive. I'm very in tune with the universe. I didn't remember anything at the time, but I did have a bit of a weird flashback in a dream afterwards where there were people around me saying, put your hands on his chest. Um, I That's all I really remember. But most people only get one chance at life. I've been given to, Tim, I'm definitely a different person. It makes me want to live a good life and help others, and know that you can come from any past and still create a future that's worth living. And it wasn't until I was 30 I started properly working on mindset and changing all my negative beliefs. And I don't think I'm totally there yet. I think I've still got so much room for improvement, so much room for growth, but it's something I work on consistently. It's never too late for anybody. It doesn't matter what your past, the present moment, just focus inwards on your own goals, your own dreams. Don't look at your outside circumstances, and eventually you will start to see results.
That's really great advice, Mark, where you're not looking at the outside events as determine whether you're worth or not worth anything, and look at your own internal drives. Is really that's all that matters. That's really all that we have. It must break your heart seeing this heroin epidemic out there, especially for all the potential new entrepreneurs, all the potential people who could bring greatness to this world are living in a street, highly addictive, and it almost for many who walk by them see that there's no way out of that. They're just going to die like that, and I have to say the majority of them do. The majority of them don't come out of that. How do you process that, knowing that anything's possible as you experienced?
It's really difficult for drug addicts, Tim, because your self esteem and self confidence is really low. You have to admit you have a problem before anybody can help you. A big tip and a big takeaway for people out there suffering with addiction would be, firstly, admit to yourself that you have a problem, and then have a look at your associations, have a look at the people you are surrounded by. People will either lift you up or drag you down. I moved away from the people that were dragging me down. I surround myself with positive, uplifting people. There's always hope at the end of the tunnel. You have to admit you have a problem first, Tim.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of people uh, can't do that, and I think people go insane over time when they're just disconnected from the source. And it seems like your near-death experience was the turning point for you, was it not?
It was, I gave up crack and heroin by using the power of my mind. I didn't see a doctor. I didn't have medical assistance.
Wow.
I used the power of thought. I
Right.
cold turkeyed, went through the pain, hot and cold flushes,
No
and
kidding.
I slowly started to rebuild my life. I still did go out taking party drugs, but I was off all of the strong
Right. Heavy
class
drugs.
A drugs.
Sure. Wow, and on your own, that's that's incredible. I mean, Mark, that's really an accomplishment to do it the hard way and to do it your way. And there's something to that when people learn to do it their way, it means more to them, and they're more less likely to fall back into the old ways. If somebody's always giving you something or always do this and do that or have to do this, you never really can claim it yourself, right? You really can't own it, right? And that's probably one of the best advice you could give a new entrepreneur is you gotta own it. You gotta claim it yourself. You can't have somebody. You're not an entrepreneur if you want somebody to do it for you, right?
It took me a long while to realize that, Tim. It's so easy to feel like people should help you, but when you take full responsibility of the good and the bad and really start to own the future that you're creating, the results that you want, that's when the magic happens, when you start to take full responsibility for all your own actions.
Mm, mm. Well, listen, I agree. It's amazing how this happens, and when you're able to have this transformation like you have, how it leads to so many other more positive, you attract so many other positive scenarios and realities in your life that it's leveling up. Really, you're leveling up, and And when we get back from break, let's talk about if you're able to, if you're worried about ever leveling down again, or do you feel like you're past that point? We're talking to Mark Stephen Puller, professional speaker, calling all the way from England today. Huh? What about that? Birmingham, England. And I'm not talking Alabama either. I'm talking Birmingham, England. Yeah, we'll talk about his book too when he gets back too. Sounds pretty cool. All right, we'll be right back. We'll see you in a minute.
All I see is green lights, yeah. All I see is green lights. All I see is green lights, yeah.
The United Intentions Foundation is proud to announce that we're beneficiaries for City Gala, a foundation that supports humanitarian, philanthropic, and educational efforts. The City Gala is produced for the purpose of promoting equality, assisting in access to higher education, funding mentorship and entrepreneurship programs. The Gala also pushes influential individuals to become activists and face the challenges of current events. We've been fortunate enough to be selected as one of the foundations slated to raise money and garner support from influential and remarkable people. To get involved, visit www.citygala.org and learn more about this wonderful foundation. You can also join their mastermind club and have access to top executives and influencers from different industries to help you network and build your brand and business. We're honored to be a part of City Gala, and we hope you join the journey to success with us.
All right, we are back with my new friend, Mark Stephen Puller. I love real stories. And Mark, to measure where you are in success in life, really, you can't look at other people or how far you come in life. You have to look at where you are in life. You have to look how far you have come in your life, and that's really the only definition of success that can be truly success, because everything's all relative outside of that. But nothing's your unique situation and journey is relative only to you. And that's all that really matters. So here you are. We were talking to Mark, and he's ex-heroin crack addict. Had a near-death experience, transformed his life, understanding the whole beauty and instantaneousness. Not say instantaneousness, but the infinite of the universe, of God. God is all there is, and you have transformed your life. And so, outside of, you said you transform your life through thought, because most of us are realizing that we're lost in our head. We're all the chatter in the back of the head. We're lost in our thoughts. Most of us are so lost that we're not connected to the heart. And in your process here, do you feel like your heart is what saved you, or do you feel like it was your thoughts that really saved you?
I am so grateful to my heart. It must be a really strong heart to keep me alive. And I think it is all about thoughts, feelings, emotions. And when you do good acts and do good for others, you feel good, and that comes from the heart. It makes you feel good. I definitely think the heart has a lot to do with manifesting and creating a better reality.
Yeah, I do. I agree with you too. And I think the heart really is in charge. That's why the heart, you guys, I don't know if you all knew this, but the heart is developed first before the brain is in the embryonic stages. So, which is more important if you think that's the case, right? So if the heart is actually developed first, then I'd say probably, the heart may be more important than anything else. And we now know through heart math that our heart has brain cells, neurocells. Literally has neurocells, and it communicates with the rest of our body often without the brain ever even knowing about it until later. So you got a whole nother conversation going on. So don't think your heart's not really in charge. I think it just lets your brain think it's in charge. It's kind of like a good woman. They let you think that you're in charge and you're really not. That's the heart, and heart related to the female energy, right? See that all tied together. So let's talk about the heart here for a second and your divinity. How do you define God? You. At this point in your life, Mark?
I define God as it's the source of all things, the creator of everything. And I find that a hard question to really answer, but I don't see it as a man in the sky. I see it as the universe, everything working together as one big consciousness.
More as an energetic uh, reality than a personified being.
I'm so open-minded to all different things. I watch things about the simulation theory, which it's really, there's so many great things that make it sound real. I'm open-minded to that, parallel realities. I've also been watching lots about the Mandela effect too, which is really some strange things.
Yeah. Yeah, the Mandela effect. And a lot of that I think has to go with the whole process of the wave and the formation of collapsing the wave into matter. And if it's always been there. I was just having a conversation with a doctor friend of mine, and we were talking about how when you change a core belief, things disappear in your life, or is it that we're collapsing a wave into matter, and that's why it's forming in our life, and and the science behind that, and things like that. And I don't know if we'll ever really know, Mark, the mechanism behind that. Maybe at least not right now. Maybe eventually in the future. But the bottom line is, something happens when we have a certain thought, which amplified by feeling, we see things appear in our life that we never would have seen before, based on that thought, amplified thought, feeling thought. Right? Would you agree to that?
Definitely. And with quantum physics, science proves a lot of strange things going on. Electrons, when you move the one over there, the other one moves simultaneously. You'll have to say that word for me.
Simultaneously. And it does. And they appear and disappear all the time, based on if you're, they say, the observer, which is a machine. But if we could extrapolate that to the human being, as we focus on something, we're collapsing a wave potentially into a formation, right? And if that is the way it works, my God, why would we want to focus on anything that we don't want to focus, we don't want to appear in our life? I mean, why do we watch horror movies all the time as a collective?
And I think we'll never understand it, but it's so much better knowing all of these different things. It's much better to believe in those than to just think you're here, you die, and that's it. That's the end.
Do you, in your book, and hold your book up one more time, in your book, do you discuss any of these type of elements, or is it just all about entrepreneurship?
Tips to create the life you desire. It shares my whole personal story of bullying, drug addiction, how I collapsed and died, how I moved into a more successful journey into entrepreneurship. And then the second half of the book is all personal development, how to move forwards, like tips and strategies for people who are struggling to make progress. It does touch on spirituality, and it does mention how I started studying quantum physics and spirituality as well.
Amazing how somebody on across the world is in the same process and growth as where we are. Let's say, for example, because and this goes to show you, no matter where you are calling from or where you live right now, you're in China, you're in Australia, you're in Hawaii, whatever, New York. We're all really the same, and we're all interconnected to each other, and we're all having a similar experience to whatever degree, maybe a different reality experience, but a similar theme to it. And this is what it's about, not divisiveness, but about unity, unifying with each other, And I'm so glad, Mark, you're involved doing this. So tell me about your radio show. What's going to be the format of it? Is it going to be interview process? Are you going to be sharing stuff? Are you going to be selling stuff? What's your format going to be?
It's Business Innovators Network Radio. It's going to be me interviewing leading experts in business. It's going to be an interview show. It's shared on many platforms, Speaker, YouTube, all the top radio platforms. It's actually USA based, which is really exciting too, because I have a lot of friends and connections in USA and Canada, and I love the USA, so I'm happy that it is actually a USA based radio
Ah,
network.
wonderful, wonderful.
I'm also a contributor to various magazines now, including Business Innovators magazine, Marketing Insiders, and there's a couple of other magazines as well.
Well, you look how the universe opened up for you when she shifted your perception and how you looked at hope and abundance. And here it is manifesting. Now, I don't want to take away from your hard work on making the right contact and, doing the actions that kind of led all these opportunities with the magazines and the radio to happen. But that would never happen if you didn't have the new mindset of allowing it that this is a possibility in my life. Like I was just
Doing the wo-
go ahead.
you go.
Okay, I was just telling LaShawn, I'm like, look, we want a football person on Awakened Stars on Thursday, and I'm like, well, who's the guy who won the Super Bowl? Tom Brady. I'm like, reach out to him. She was the only one. Everybody else laughed, but she was the only one in there. Like, it could be a possibility. Maybe he wants to come on a conscious radio
not?
show. Why not?
Yeah.
Help us conscious radio show. Get the good word out. So, but anything's possible. You can't limit to like, oh, that's crazy, right? I mean, you have to really be open minded.
Be present in the moment. It's important to really appreciate everything that's good in your life right now. Some people really focus on, oh, I want to always be getting to the next level. I feel like just focus every day on the present moment and taking those steps, and be grateful that you're taking action every day towards the end destination. I think anything is possible, and it's took me 2 years of doing the hard work, doing the action, getting lots of no's with lots of sales calls. It's took really having lots of failures and doing a Facebook show on Facebook where I interview people, which has led then to go on to do other things.
Wow, and it is it feeds on. It's like a snowball effect, in a good way, where before you know it, you're leveling up. Do you ever feel like you may slip, or you feel like you may ever go back, or do you think you're past that point in your life?
I will never go back. No, I'm a different person now, and the only way is forwards and upwards for me. I'm very positive, very focused. There's always going to be ups and downs, but just stay on your purpose, your passions, stay within the heart, keep doing things from a good place, what you are helping others. And I think things can only get better.
Mm. What an optimist. I really do want he'd want to put him in my pocket and take him around wherever I go.
Yeah, man, it's great stuff.
Yeah, isn't it? Because I believe you. I believe you that you wake up in the morning, you do your meditation, you go to bed, you do your intention, grateful work. And because it's transformed your life, because you know what it's like down that other road. You've been down that road. And it leads nowhere other than despair, loneliness, depression, and just pain. And so here you have an opportunity for the rest part of your life to live in abundance and joy. And you have a comparison, and anybody says something to you, Mark, it's like, it could always be worse, right? Whatever may not go your way could always be worse. And a lot of people don't have that to compare to. So in essence, your pain that you suffered at a young age really is probably your best blessing, I would assume.
I see it that way now. I didn't at the time, but I realise now that that's what's made me the person that I am today. And I am really blessed that it all happened to me, because that's what really motivates me now to help others and to do what I'm doing. But Tim, it's not always great. I still get days where I get down. There's still days where things don't go right for me. And that's why rituals and routines are so important. I can still get down. I can still have times where I get depressed. And that's why rituals and routines are so important to me, so that I stay on track.
Well, listen, you're right. And that, to me, when you say a routine, that means repetition. Repetition means practice. Practice means changing neural pathways. Changing neural pathways, you change your reality. Well, Mark Steven, it's been a pleasure having you on with us. Looking forward to having you back again soon. In fact, can you hang on a second? Because I think your message is so important to get out there. And let's talk about that, too. Guys, you've been listening to Mark Steven Puller. He's a professional speaker, now radio host. You can catch him. Go check out his site on info@markstevenpuller.com and learn more. What an inspiration you are, Mark. Thank you for coming on. All right, guys, we'll see you in a little bit. Don't forget, Beth Peters today, 3.
You have been listening to The Good Intention Show on the UI Radio Network. The Good Intentions Show is sponsored by the United Intentions Foundation at unitedintentions.org. Look for us on Blog Talk, Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, and many more. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram under United Intentions, and on Twitter at Higher Intention. Be sure to log on to unitedintentions.org, a virtual community where you learn to create, track, and manifest your passions, one intention at a time. Have a wonderful day, and until next time, live life with intent. The United Intentions Foundation and its associates take no responsibility for the opinions and statements made by the talk show hosts or their guests.